Hi Chandru, how have you been?
Hi, Hamsa. Doing good. Very busy given all the vibe coding. Please tell me.
Yes, I can imagine. So it's been a while since we had our Coffee with Chandru podcast series, and I'm really happy that we are having finally got the time to do another episode today. Um, just in terms of what we have covered so far for the benefit of our listeners, our earlier podcast, you had talked about how you define an ICP for anyone who is running a small business or for busy professionals. What are the various tools you could use to assist with that? And what are the various strategies that someone could use in terms of how you would define the ICPs and approach the ICP in the market? So, having said that, today we would focus more on in terms of how an SME owner, as when I say SME owner, a small, medium sized business owner, would approach launching their products into market, right? So, what is we call it the GTM plan, right? So, how do you go about this? And that too, specifically in today's world where we are talking about AI, and uh, is there a better way of doing this using AI? So I wanted to um, invite you today for the podcast and do share your insights into how best an SME owner can look into this.
Sure. We have already defined in terms of when we say SME, it's a small and medium businesses. And we also look at busy executives who probably even work in MNCs, right? I mean, they literally are running businesses within a business. Um, GTM has gathered, I would say, recognition and importance in the past few years as a strategy by itself, right? So GTM refers to go to market. So for the existing products or services a business might have, how do you actually take them to market? How do you actually sell them, make revenue? Of course, do the customer service support comes at a later stage. GTM is all about how do you actually launch it into the market and start making revenue. So it's in a way more amalgamation of your sales concepts, your marketing concepts, and everything in between, right from your copywriting to your advertising to all of those skill sets, which are quite important. Now, we have always had a traditional friction between sales and marketing, in the sense of sales is more of a push strategy, right? And marketing is considered more of a pull strategy. And again, these two fields have independently evolved over a period of time. However, for a business, at the end of the day, it's all about servicing customers, making revenue, right? Make it more profitable and sustainable. And GTM, today we have multiple ways of looking at it. One is, of course, in terms of launching your existing products or services. Second is also how do you actually get feedback from your market, your customers, and determine whether you're going to launch new products and services. So you can understand it's a 360-degree loop. And this very well plays as part of your digital transformation, which is very important for businesses operating in the digital age, right? And of course, we are talking about everything in the digital age, which everything from the impact of mobile to online commerce to quick commerce to now artificial intelligence and potentially extending to technologies like blockchain and others. However, we mentioned this in our earlier podcast as well, that the technology cannot be driving the business. It's only going to support and assist the business, right? So, as with every other podcast, we will potentially look into some definitions which are there, right? As I have just tried to do a simple Google search over here. So, essentially, we look at how AI can help the SMEs in terms of getting a level playing field with the larger companies by ensuring that you're not incurring too much cost, but at the same time, you are using data driven insights, you're doing automation. And of course, now with the AI coming in, using large language models to infuse intelligence in your products and services. And you could do this as independent, like tools you could use to do certain specific tasks, or you could do as a complete workflow, which means you do multiple tasks combined together, each task feeding to the other. Or probably you look into automation where there is no like clear cut boundaries between tasks and things actually flow in a very natural way uh, for your sales or marketing functions. And again, to be very clear, when we look at GTM, there is no differentiation between sales and marketing. It's all one team, which we should keep in mind here. And if you, as I said, when we do a quick thing on what is GTM, you would see that there are multiple definitions, and people are already talking about traditional GTM and AI GTM. And we are looking at where you are going to have, as you're being pointed out here, can you have a revenue engine that is faster, leaner, and smarter? And today, with the advent of technologies like AI, it's all possible. You don't have to have too much of human intervention, which means you don't have to have huge teams, huge headcounts to do all of this. And you can actually upskill your team members to do more uh, insightful and impactful tasks rather than the rote, boring, monotonous tasks or work. We are also seeing some big trends which are happening out, that you are moving away from persuasion based strategies, which was all the rage from 2010 onwards till about now. Now it's going all in terms of proof driven models, which essentially means, again, your sales and marketing teams have to really learn, I mean, first unlearn and then learn newer ways of doing tasks or business with their existing customers, and potentially with new customers as well. Now, when we look at the definition, is of course, how does this sort of a strategy help businesses launch, market, and sell products smarter? There are multiple vendors who actually say that, hey, we can do all of this GTM tasks. We can sort of help you with a lot of these sort of workflows and automation. And I'm sure you would be familiar with a lot of names already. However, if you look at one more thing in terms of, I'm just trying to just go, I'm sure you can see my screen. This term called GTM engineer is now coming up very fast. So it would make sense for SME owners, busy executives, and of course HR professionals to understand that when we call as an engineer, they're not literally like an engineer in the traditional sense, but more in terms of being a technical professional who can design, build, automate systems to ensure all your sales, marketing, customer success efforts are more efficient and effective. They use more advanced techniques like data analysis, AI, workflow automation. And the first industry to adapt it in a very big way is the SaaS, software as a service industry. Why? It's because people are supposed to learn technology faster, especially AI, and use it in the daily work, daily tasks. And in a way, you look at the reason why a lot of layoffs are happening is because people want more of AI powered individuals, and they really are trying to recalibrate what their existing talent pool is about. Right now, whether it's right and wrong, let's not get into that. That's not the scope of this podcast. But fundamentally, it is like saying that you having a go to market team, and this team is going to extend not just sales and marketing but also partnerships, even resellers, or even going up to the level of, let's say, how do I actually collaborate with workshop attendees, the workshops you may run. Now this, I mean, to my limited knowledge, this was and is continued to be promoted by this company called Clay. I'm sure you know that you used Clay in many ways, and Clay is now, I guess, a unicorn, because of the way that they are actually bringing in data and insights to help sales and marketing professionals. And now they are saying that they actually empower people to become GTM engineers who can build revenue engines using AI and automation. So looks like it's also being adopted by the latest tech companies like Cursor, Lovable, Webflow. All of them are out over there. So essentially, SME owners, along with their HR teams, if they have one, or their management team, should start looking at two things. One is, can I upskill my existing marketing, sales, customer support people into becoming GTM engineers? What are the skill sets required for that? And of course, do I start recruiting such GTM engineers? Now, what is the process of doing all of this? Again, we will probably cover when we look at training and development, learning and development as we go forward. It's important to understand that this is a very fast developing concept. And in fact, if you look at even somebody like what you can call OpenAI, right? Let me just, you would see that OpenAI, I mean, contrary to what people say that AI will take jobs, they are actually advertising for forward deployed engineers. So if called FDEs. So what are FDEs? They actually, from an OpenAI perspective, it's more in terms of how they convert research breakthroughs into production grade system, but they can also embed these professionals into their customer teams and look at multi-million dollar sort of lucrative contracts. So now you can realize you can have your GTM engineers inside your business. You can also deploy them, make them as a revenue center by deploying them into your customer locations or part of their customer teams or remote, whichever way. But you get the idea, right? You now have these sort of engineers on both sides. Now, again, as I said, probably engineers as an overused term here, and probably they're using it because there's a lot of technology and automation out over here. But there's nothing to be scared for professionals. So if somebody really is wanting a better job and how they would want to really progress in their career, go for better salary things, yes, an FDE, forward deployed engineer, is probably a very good um, career path. So I do see here OpenAI is probably recruiting for FDEs in Singapore, where they say you'll embed with customers, understand the domain, co-develop solutions using, of course, OpenAI technologies, right? At the end of the day, you are really trying to push your products, and that's where it makes tremendous sense for a very, very new and nascent industry like AI, where people are really not clear as to where they will, you know, use the AI technologies as part of their business flows or workflows. So let me take a pause. Any questions till now?
So thanks, Chandru, for sharing this concept of a GTM engineer, and you should have one of them in your team when you're looking at going to market. But from the perspective of an SME owner, how can we simplify this whole process? Is there any specific AI tools that they can use which can help them achieve GTM easier using this technology?
So we do have our very well-known names, right? Your ChatGPT to your Anthropic Claude, probably Microsoft Copilot. All of them are with a single intention of getting people to be self-sufficient. So while we say forward deployed engineers or go-to-market GTM engineers, we are forgetting that the SME owners themselves can upskill, themselves can become FDEs, and which is the case in many places because they usually work with a handful of customers. The owner and his probably management team are actually on the field working with. So it's very important that they themselves learn these various technologies and tools. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the field is evolving. So one of the things that we did, for example, was with the relaunch of SmartMaya.ai. I mean, earlier when we did it about few years back, we were more worried about workflows and how do we sort of, on a very deterministic basis, provide solutions to clients. With the advent of AI, now we have vibe coded and created an enterprise grade platform. And as you can see here, we say that we would want to provide all the tools to eliminate busy work. So our objective is to say that, hey, can we actually stop the chaos and don't have to do any coding and setup, and you can actually scale your business without scaling your team, right? As I said, you don't have to boil the ocean. You learn the tools and probably get started off with. And our objective has been that it should be so simple that you don't have to break your head trying to learn things like prompt engineering. I see a lot of people advertising for prompt engineering, and of course, I would also love to train people on prompt engineering. But the way I see the market going forward is your learning and development itself is going to be part of execution. It is not a linear process anymore. What I mean by that is you're going to adopt a tool like SmartMaya.ai, and you're going to start using the tool. The tool is going to intelligently learn from the interactions and is going to be an assistant as you move forward. Whether you are an expert in marketing or sales doesn't really matter. And it provides you enough of assistance 24 by 7, whether you want to complete a task or you're just brainstorming, or you want to do something, stop today, then after a few days come back and do. It's a very natural way how we do things, right? We don't like sort of open up a technical manual and do things like a washing machine or so. That's not how humans work, and that's precisely how we would want to people to start using AI. Now, while I do use the term here, let's say in SmartMaya, let's say like we are giving AI tools, it's not to be confused with what traditionally are tools, let's say like a Microsoft Word or an SAP ERP or an Oracle database. Our objective, again, as I mentioned, is not for technology to be at the forefront. Technology should be more of an enabler here. So, to just show you in terms of the uh, product itself, just give me a second. Okay, I'm sure you can see my login screen out over here. So what we are obviously trying to do here is, let me just take a quick second to log in. So you would see that we have implemented all the security features for the people to actually start logging in and start using SmartMaya. Of course, it's my product, but I'm just using it as an example today to talk about, let's say, a go to market. Um, Now, it's not like a traditional software product. As you can see, as soon as I have logged in, it has recognized who I am, and it starts customizing as to saying that what exactly is urgent for me today. And we clearly say we don't require any AI experience. Precisely what an SME owner would love. You just have to inform in terms of what task you want to do, similar to how you would have an assistant sitting right next to you. Uh, just to help people, we say, what, we could ask the AI to help get more customers, probably follow with leads, maybe check a new contract which has come into the inbox, or probably create content and write blog posts. You could do any of these. And it's a very simple sort of an interface which is out over there. The objective here is, as I said, is not to overwhelm people by all this hype on AI and get them to fill up a lot of fields and forms and do this workflow and do the onboarding for several weeks or so. As you can see, we just logged in and you can just start getting productive. Like, you're looking at outcomes here. You're not looking at a traditional learning curve, which probably, if you plot a graph, the learning curve goes like this. There's no learning curve here. It's zero. And you can start getting being, productive. So for example, if I say, I want to write a blog on my new product and probably publish on my website, I click on start creating. You'll see in an instant it actually has opened up your blog tool. I didn't go and click and say like, hey, I want a blog, where is it? I know there are 5 clicks before I get in. And you also see that it has already started populating before you even come here. So your productivity levels are quite high because all that you do is just state your intentions. And of course, if you still want to customize it, you have a lot of target audience and things like that. But the way we have structured this is that AI intelligently starts helping you with your boring and monotonous task. Again, as I said, we are not trying to replace a marketing team by saying I will do the blogs. We are only mitigating all of that extra irritation of saying that I need to think on my ICP, I need to think about where is my business. In fact, Maya over a period of time learns how this business is, your business is, how is your interaction, how's your brand, and then the output starts coming in. So
So,
if I
Chandru, this is really looking amazing. Huh? So, I still wanted to ask a few questions because you talked about ICP and everything is done. You can define all of that here. But from a marketing perspective, and typically marketers would look into more depth for a specific blog, for example, the SEO and etc. So when you talk about using the AI to do all this kind of content writing for you, does it take care of these aspects?
um, you have to add more details here. What we also have done is we have ensured that your, so for example, I have logged in, right? So let me go to my profile settings, and you would see here it has intelligently filled up a lot of details. Like I'm the CEO of Wisely Wise, right? Did you see at any point of time I inputted the values of wiselywise.com? Did I mention anywhere that my business model is SaaS? Or did I say
Yeah.
anywhere that it's my technology? Or did I type this saying that company description is this is what Wisely Wise does? So it intelligently finds out once you log in about yourself and your company, and it allows you to adjust and refine this data as you move forward. So it's not like, oh, the AI has found out you are stuck to that particular set of data, and can feel free to add more details as you go forward. So to your precise question, so what do you see here? I mean, I'm sure you are teaching in digital marketing to many people. You would see that it has also looked into details, researched on Wisely Wise, and said that, hey, you know what, Wisely Wise seems to be targeting SaaS companies, tech startups, digital agencies, and education, which is true. And we also are looking at some key products and services, which is around business intelligence and AI content generator. It also comes up with unique value propositions like personalized AI that understands your business context, which is what SmartMaya is about.
Mm.
Then we are also looking at analytics and performance tracking. Now, as a marketer, you can still come and add more data, change the data, refine whatever you would want to. And you could state your market position, right? So you can see the control of what the AI learns about yourself and your business is with you. You can change it, you can delete it, or you can add some more stuff. However, it takes all of these details, intelligently learns over a period of time, so that it can actually um, what you can call come up with better results for yourself.
Wow, this is amazing. I think this will be very useful for SME owners who are listening today. This is amazing.
So I showed you that in terms of the blog post which we were actually looking at. So like for example, let's say I'm not comfortable chatting and finding out about the tool. I like clicking on stuff. Fair enough. You would see that you can really come in and take any of the business tools, marketing tools, sales tools. We have hundreds of tools coming up, and each tool has a specific workflow behind it, and each of them starts learning about you over a period of time, right? So we already saw things around blog post, but you can also, for example, write email campaign generators. So if I click on it, I'm just sorry, if I actually look at some of the tools which we just looked at it, like blog generator or the other tools, the objective is that the results are going to be something which is very personalized and customized for your own what you can call usage. And over a period of time, it allows you to actually um, what you can call make it more automated. As you can see, we're not rushed into automating the entire process. We definitely want to build the trust over a period of time, and then we would want to actually uh, allow for an end-to-end automation. Nobody wants to let the AI run right from day one in terms of how the whole thing is going to happen, right? So that is going to be a very important aspect in terms of what you can call uh, the difference from using a traditional chat GPT is going to be out over there. So a ChatGPT doesn't really learn from your interactions. It doesn't hold any. I mean, of course, you can store something called memory and things like that, but it's not a continuous process. It's a manual process. Whereas what Maya does here is more continuous over a period of time, right? So if you take this example, you would see that here you would see that you can actually go in and do a lot of work on your existing blog posts, right? It also helps you in terms of if you are stuck, I don't know what to do, you can start off with any of these content which you have. And more importantly, it can also help you with more than 100 plus global languages, not necessarily only English. It could be French, it could be Deutsch, it could be Hindi, it could be Mandarin, it could be any of those, right? And this whole process you could sort of keep in your mind in terms of what exactly it needs to be done. So let's say I just say vibe coding, and let's say I'm focused on the industry called technology. Let me just click on this. It's creating the block content based on the inputs. Very minimal inputs I have actually given out over here. So the objective here is that it should customize as much as it can based on its understanding of who I am, what is my profile, and things like that. And then it actually comes up with an output. As you can see on the screen, it's come with a very basic sort of an output because my input has been very, very low, right? So I could, for example, decide to copy this or email this to myself, or I can download it. But let's assume that I want to, hey, you know what, I want to do some editing. You just click on it. You should be able to edit whatever you want out over here, right? And specifically for SEO, I could just click on my content analytics, and you'd see it actually gives me specific, like saying, hey, what is the word count, how much time it takes to read, right? And we're already using your SEO on page formatting in terms of your H1, H2, the key phrases. You'd see that it actually repeats the key phrase like vibe coding in many of the H1 and H2s. So you don't see, even experts will be tired if every day I have to remember what I need to write in a blog. That's a point. But if I give all the power to the human who's generating it, and I can actually allow them to sort of use it as a workflow. And you'd see on the right top you have something called draft, and I can say I can publish it or I can archive it. I'm just leaving it as a draft out over here, right? And you would always be able to sort of find out more insights in terms of if there are some tasks that you have done, like we did vibe coding, and then it starts showing up as probably a pending task. Now you may schedule it, and then over a period of time you could come in and say that I would want to complete this task, right? So the objective of showing this SmartMaya and this AI and this GTM task is that you now have the power of an intelligent system, not just a dumb computer system. It just outputs whatever has been programmed into it, but it can, in many different ways, it can actually help you in terms of, like, I could actually chat and find out things like how many tools do you have, and it's very specific to the sort of data you have or what Maya has at that point of time. So you would see that it immediately puts an answer saying that, hey, you know what, I have got four tools which are important to you, probably as the CEO of a business, right? So the assistance can be in any different way, and our objective, as I said, is to ensure that you are having hundreds of tools available at any point of time. So you could even do click and you can come back and say, like, I would like to look at all my sales processes and sales tasks, and I don't want a workflow, I don't want intelligence, I just want to use a tool for that moment, I want to do some task and move out. Yeah, fantastic. You could come here. It could be everything from, if I do lead management, and is there a way to do, let's say, an account segmentation, is there a thing to do account intelligence, I could do out over here. You could potentially ask all of these questions, and you could sort of use these tools as well, right? So for example, when I'm actually looking at, I just told you about account intelligence, you'd see it has actually opened up an account intelligence tool here. What does it mean? If I actually input my account detail, let's say my account to whom I'm selling is Microsoft, I could put my context out over here, and I would be able to get an analysis in terms of the account itself. So it you don't have to learn prompt engineering. You don't have to worry about whether I have to use a free version of ChatGPT. You don't have to be an expert in a sales process or a domain, let's say like digital marketing. You start using the tools, and I'm sure as you keep looking at these tools, working with these tools, you also are learning along the process. That's what I mentioned. The way training and development, learning and development is changing is that you execute and learn along with the AI, and the AI continues to be an assistant. Probably over a period of time, we have in SmartMaya intelligent agents which do end-to-end processes, which means I could say, hey, you know what, create for me some 4 LinkedIn posts every week based on the recent trends, and generate and keep it for my approval. SmartMaya can do that. However, to build your trust to, I mean, it takes some time, no, before you get used to this sort of complete automation. So that's where you have to be very careful in terms of uh, how you are trying to use AI. So some people are trying to use it as a magic bullet, where I'm trying to solve everything using AI and end to end. Some people are still being cautious, and we are trying to take a middle path, saying that start executing, start using it, and with AI you should be able to improve your go to market. It can be significant. You can reduce. You don't. I'm sure by now you realize you don't require a huge marketing team, headcount cost. Your existing marketing team doesn't have to feel very pressurized saying that I need to do 2 blog posts, I have to do 4 LinkedIn posts, I have to do 5 social media posts every week. It's very tough for me to do. Now they do more of approval process, more about inputs in terms of what your business is, and you are getting more intelligent outputs which they can review, they can schedule, and then, as I said, probably post it into these various social channels or whatever, right? I just mentioned a few things in terms of content generation, but it is true in terms of analysis. I could upload a CSV file with my sales data and ask Maya to say, what do you think about it? How do I make it better?
Right. So thank you, Chandru, for sharing and also showing us how SmartMaya AI works. And it's amazing. It's actually a very powerful tool that you're giving in the hands of the SME owner and his team members as well. So this, I think, is a fantastic tool which can really assist an SME owner who's extremely short of time and really still needs to go and execute the GTM, needs to have those blog posts going out, need to do the account based analysis, etc. So, a lot of features inside this particular tool. Thanks so much for sharing. And I would, of course, request all the listeners here to go ahead and try SmartMaya.ai. We will share the link in the description of this podcast for you all to go ahead and try and explore in your day to day workflows as well. So, having said that, thank you so much, Chandru. Today, a lot of insights about GTM, which is so important for any business. And of course, in terms of how you could use AI in this particular environment, including a tool like SmartMaya AI, which SME owners can really take advantage of and execute the day-to-day work very seamlessly along with what they need to do right on a daily basis. So thank you so much for the insights. I'm sure everybody found it very, very useful. And until the next time we meet again with another interesting topic, thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care, Hamsa. Bye.